Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our next episode of Jude. Where is it?
Today we will talk about music mobilization. We will take an example of the Baltic and build our story on Latvia as our case study. We will also watch an interview with a Latvian cultural expert in her house.
Okay, so we have decided to take a closer look on Latvia, because understandably we have someone with a Latvian background out here. But also because however silly or weird it might sound, most people don't know where Latvia is and even confuse it with other countries. It will be also good to learn something new, isn't it?
Yeah, but first of all we decided to give you 1, 2, 3 geographical guide. First of all, Latvia is not Lithuania. It is two different countries. 2. Latvia is especially not Lapland or far north as some people might think. There is also no Santa Claus up there. At last, Latvia is not Russia. And don't you dare to state it in Latvia, those people really do not like it. To make sure that you never forget where it is, here is the map, look at it very carefully.
Getting back to the point, let's look at our case study, mass music mobilization, which refers to the act of mobilization of the population. The process usually takes the form of large public gatherings, while using music as a weapon to reach a common goal. In order to speak about it, it is crucial to understand how important culture and music are to the Latvians.
We are talking about singing revolution and mass music mobilization. Let's take a look at our cultural expert from Latvia, Giulia. How important is culture and what is the singing revolution? Why did it actually happen?
So the singing revolution is commonly laid word for what had happened in the Baltics between 1987 and 1991, which eventually led to the restoration of their independences. But first of all, few words of the background history. Mikhail Gorbachev was a gift from heaven for the Baltics. His new policies, such as a glasnost and perestroika, led to the unprecedented rise of nationalistic feelings. Gorbachev loosened the leash, which was tightened for a very long time without even realizing what could happen. So, when the first demonstration took place, without any consequences, people understood we have to do something. So they started to sing songs and started to bring the pre-war flags with them everywhere where they went. So, and the Baltic Way was like a cherry on the cake. But about that later on. So, it's crucial to understand how important culture is for Latvian folks. Music is Latvia. Its folklore is its soul. It's something that makes them proud. So, during the singing revolution, Latvian culture played perhaps the largest role in forming collective identity. So the use of traditional cultures, such as an ancient form of dress or traditional songs and dances, played a huge role. So Latvian recognized those songs, and this contributed to the instantaneous feeling of unity, though they needed to use more modern version of them because they needed to hid their secret message from the Soviet censors, otherwise it will be very, very dangerous. So let's hear the first one. Actually allowed by the Soviet Union because it was a child fairy tale. They never realized the double meaning of it, whereas Latvian folks did and started to repeat it constantly over and over again. So, viva la patriotisme! This I'm calling a power of music and words. I'm sorry, I was carried away. Anyway, they did not only use the traditional folk music for this reason, but also they started to product the rock opera, such as the Lachplaces or Beersloer, seen by 180,000 people. Huge music events were a public display of historical culture and nationalism. It made morally hard to shut them down because they were peaceful protests, and the West covered them in the media. So, which brings us to the Baltic Way. Back to you, girls. Please.
So, the Baltic Way. Did you know that the Baltic Way was the longest human chain in history?
Oh, really?
Yeah, 675 kilometers or 419 miles long unbroken human chain from Tallinn via Riga to Vilnius.
Why 4?
As Giulia said in her interview, Glasnost allowed a lot of freedom, and people found out that their destiny has been decided long before the actual Second World War started. The Soviet regime did not deny it, so people formed a chain to draw attention to their plea to send a message to the Soviets.
What kind?
They were singing for the independence. How nice, really, such small countries demanding freedom from their huge Soviet mama.
Whoa, brave guys. What solidarity? Let's see what our expert has to say about it.
What is interesting that those small in size population countries actually played a leading role in the midst of one of the world's superpowers.
Wow. Remarkable that the protest was very peaceful, super peaceful.
Indeed, no one wanted to bring war and chaos to their countries, especially if you know that there's no chance of winning it. It would have been a suicide mission. It would have ended up with brutal force, and for Latvians that was not an option because of its position and its significant Russian minority.
The protest was designed to draw global attention to show popular desire for independence of each of the countries. So, on the 23rd of August, people linked their hands together for 15 minutes at 7 p.m. local time. We may see it as an effect in the following clip.
People from all walks of life, almost all of Latvia participated. Older people, young people, even babies that had just been born, their parents were bringing them, but even older people who had difficulty walking, who were not in good health, they made the effort to go and participate and find a place where they were needed so that the chain would not be broken.
To give a better impression of what this mobilization looked like, let's play a video of the Baltic Way and people singing in 3 different languages in 3 different countries.
That sounds really impressive.
Cool, isn't it?
Interesting languages. What is even more interesting, that there is no Soviet response to it. They took it with intense rhetoric and failed to do something with the gap that widened between the Baltic states and the Soviet Union.
So as we have seen, the Baltic Way was very important for those countries indeed. The Baltic Way was a symbol of unity, of restoring the independence of the Baltic states, and it also was a historical symbol of the power of nonviolent action.
It is also important to speak about what was the effect on the world. Firstly, the Soviet Union acknowledged the existence of the pact in 1989 and announced its abeyance. Secondly, this acknowledgement contributed to the further democratic movement in the Soviet Union and the countries of the Warsaw Pact. Thirdly, it demonstrated that the Baltics were united and were a democratic region of the world. It became a memory of the world, a memory of humanity. Again, let's hear what Giulia has to say about that.
Within 7 months after the Baltic Way, Lithuania was the first Soviet republic which declared its independence, and then followed her other Baltic sisters after a few extra months.
Which kind of brings us to the end of our show today.
To end up in a good note, now everything is okay. Latvia and her Baltic sisters are since 2004 members of the European Union, members of the NATO. Only last year, Riga was European Capital of Culture, so this means that life goes on for small Baltic states and its own unique culture. It is very important to realize that there is no need of force or huge protest in order to get what you want. You may decide everything is very peaceful with lots of music.
It is time to say goodbye, and according to me, it is time to go and visit these countries. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
Visu labu mani, dārgi meitas un dēli, es esmu sveicināti mūsu valstī Latvijā.